Alright, so let's get into it. In this video, we're going to be going over VLOOKUP, but we're going to be going over using the approximate match instead of using the exact match. So, exact match will give you the exact output of a cell that you're looking for, and it looks for exactly the input as well. You have to have that exact input to match, but approximate, you don't have to have the exact input to match to get an output. So, let's start with this first table. We have our sales and commission. And then we have a table to the left of sales and commission. So we see our sales are 8,000 in this small table, but in our sales table to the left, we don't have an exact $8,000 amount. We only have ranges. We have these different kind of marginal rates. So we want to get the commission. So if we're making sales, if we don't get to if we make $399 in sales, our commission will be 0. But once we hit 4,000, we'll get $200 in commission. And then anything between 4,000 to 900 or 9,999, we would only get $200 commission until we hit that $10,000 in sales. Then our commission will move up to $650. So we have these kind of different cutoff levels that we have to hit. So we're going to go equals VLOOKUP, and then our lookup value is going to be this, our sales right here to the left, so 8,000. Then our table array is going to be the whole table we have to the left with sales and commission numbers. Then we're going to press comma again. And then our column index number, so what column do we want the output to come from, is 2. And then we're going to hit, we can either type in true or we can type in 1. So 1 equals true in this case. And it's going to give us an approximate match. So if we were to type in 0 or false, we would get the exact match. But when we type in 1 or true, we get the approximate match. So then we could just go ahead and close our parentheses and we'll press enter. And you can see our commission is $200. Even though there's no exact 8,000 sales in that table, it knows that we're getting commission of $200 until we get that $10,000 rate. So now if I update my sales to 10,000, you see we get a $650 commission. And I'm just going to go ahead and change that into currency real quick. So you can see, and if we were to update it up again to $11,000, it's still $650 commission. And it's going to be like that until we end up reaching that $15,000 barrier. So if we put $16,000, you see our commission will be $930. So that's a good thing with the approximate match. You don't have to have the exact input. So our lookup value doesn't have to be exactly in that table array. So our sales was our lookup value, so that 16,000 is not actually in that table array in the left, but it's in between different sales figures. So it's going to give us that output until we hit that next 20,000 level. So now in our next example, we're going to use commission rate. So we're going to equals VLOOKUPs, open parentheses, our lookup values are sales, comma, our table array, still that table that we've been using, that sales and commissions table, comma. We're going to look in the second column where the commission rates are, comma, and then we're going to press 1 for our approximate match. And you can see now our commission rate is 4.75%. You can see that 75,000 falls in between 4,000 and 10,000, so our commission rate is 4.75%, and we can put this into a percent. You can see it rounded, so we're going to have to add a couple of decimal places. So now it's 4.75. And to get our commission amount, it's pretty simple. We're just going to multiply our sales by our commission rate, and that gives us our commission amount. And of course, if we update our sales to $12,000, our commission rate changed to 5.75% because we reached that new level, that new marginal rate. So now we have a income and tax table, another example. So this gives something that's useful, just kind of how we're taxed, at least in America, or marginally. So until you make a certain amount of income, you're taxed in one bracket, but once you break that income level to a higher income level, you're taxed at a higher or lower marginal rate depending where you're making. So here's an example. If our income is $1,000, we'll be taxed $25. But once we break $2,000, then we'll start getting taxed at $60, and then so on and so forth, $5,120 and $10,175. So we're going to, once again, equals VLOOKUP, open the parentheses, our lookup value is that income we have, comma, our table array, still the same table. We're going to comma 2, we're looking at column number 2, and we're going to type in 1 again for approximate. So you can see when our income's $4,500, we get taxed at $60. But if we're to make $5,000 in income, we get taxed at $120. So that's how, when you're using, if you're using your like taxes, maybe the next rate you get taxed at a higher rate, maybe $60,000. So you want to may have taxable income maybe $59,999 to get taxed at lower rates. So now we have this table we want to fill out. So we're going to equals VLOOKUP. Our lookup values are employee name, comma. Then we're going to our table array. We're going to highlight that table, but this time we're going to hit F4 to lock that table in place, so we can easily fill downwards to fill out the rest of that table. So then our column number is 2 that we're looking in, and our range lookup is 1. And you can see that we got this error, and that's because we chose the wrong lookup value. We made our employee the lookup value, and our lookup value actually needed to be our sales. And you can see that employee has the light blue box around it. So we're just going to change our lookup value to our sales, a value that's actually in our table. So go ahead and do that and press enter. And now we're going to highlight this first cell, and we're just going to drag, hold Control, Shift, and down arrow to drag all the way down to the end of this. And then we're just going to hit Control D. And you see now we're able to easily fill out the rest of it because we locked in our table array. We use the F4 key to lock it in. So now it's always still referencing that table array. But it's getting updated what our lookup value is since we didn't lock that in. That was just a relative reference. So you can see we're able to quickly fill out everything just by using the F4 key. And we have all these approximates. So now we have all of our employees and their different cells that they hit, and then the commissions that they're making. So this way, a great way to get a great employee list and fill out all the commissions that you owe to your employees.